everyone, welcome to Mathworld. This video is to discuss Cambridge International AS and A-Level Mathematics Paper 1 for October-November 2022 and the code is 9709/13. Alright, so let's move on to question 1. Okay, question 1. Solve the equation 8 sine square theta plus 6 cos theta plus 1 equals to 0 for theta between 0 degrees and 180 degrees. Alright, so first of all, I will rewrite the question. Okay, so to solve this quadratic equation, since you have the cos theta and the sine squared theta here, so I'm going to change the sine squared theta to cos squared theta by using this identity. Sine squared theta plus cos squared theta equals to 1. Therefore, sine squared theta equals to 1 minus cos squared theta. So now, by replacing sine squared theta, you will get 8 times 1 minus cos squared theta plus 6 cos theta plus 1 equals to 0. Then from here, when you do expansion, you will be getting 8 minus 8 cos square theta plus 6 cos theta plus 1 equals to 0. And now we are getting a quadratic equation in terms of cos theta. So let's rearrange it first. So move all the terms to the right hand side so that the coefficient for cos squared theta will be positive 8. Then you will be getting 8 cos squared theta minus 6 cos theta. So at first 8 plus 1 it will be 9, but after we move it to the right hand side it will be negative 9, that equals to 0. Cool. So now by factorizing this quadratic equation, we will be getting 2 cos theta minus 3 multiplied by 4 cos theta plus 3 equals to 0. Okay, so now the multiplication of these two factors equals to 0 means that one of the factors must be 0. So 2 cos theta minus 3 equals to 0, or 4 cos theta plus 3 equals to 0. So for the first equation, I will get cos theta equals to 3 over 2, which is undefined, right? So because the maximum value for the cos theta is only 1. So now, for the second equation, I will be getting cos theta equals to negative 3 over 4. So now, draw the quadrant. Now, before we decide where is the region, where is the angle, so let's look at the interval first. The interval is between 0 to 180 degrees, which means it's the first two quadrants. And now you are getting cos theta is negative value. So it must be in the second quadrant, alright? So then this is our value. Now, from the calculator, so if you use calculator to get the basic angle, so the basic angle is basically here. Inverse tangent or inverse cos, so you can write inverse cos 3 over 4, it will be 41.4 degrees. Okay, so 41.4 degrees. But now our theta is the major angle. That means your theta is 180 degrees minus 41.4 degrees. And at last, you will be getting 138.6 degrees. So this is the solution for question 1. Alright, so let's move on to question 2. So for question 2, the function f is defined by fx equals to negative 2x squared minus 8x minus 13 for x less than minus 3. So A, express fx in the form of minus 2 times square of x plus a plus b, where a and b are integers. So from here, to get the answer, you actually need to apply the completing the square, right? Completing the square method. So now, first of all, I will rewrite the question. Fx is negative 2x squared minus 8x minus 13. So now, by looking at the answer here, we need to factorize a minus 2. Okay, that is the compulsory step for you to perform the completing the square method. Alright. So now, first of all, when you factorize a minus 2 from all these terms, you are actually dividing the terms by minus 2. So first term becomes x squared. Second term becomes positive 4. Alright, so positive 4x. Then the minus 13, I can just leave it outside. So from here, to complete the square, you need to rewrite these two terms. And then we plus bracket squared minus bracket squared and close the bracket, then minus 13. So the term inside the bracket, it will be the half of the coefficient of x. So now the coefficient for x is basically plus 4. So now I will write plus 4 over 2. Okay, it's half. So here is also plus 4 over 2. So now next it will be combination of the first and third term, the terms with the square. So I will write the square outside the bracket, then I will write x inside the bracket, and now when you refer to this third term, it is plus 4 over 2. So when you simplify, it becomes plus 2. Okay, so then minus, this will be 2 squared, then minus 13. So at last, just need to do the expansion. So minus 2 times x plus 2 squared, then this minus 2, right? This minus 2 multiply with this negative of 2 squared. So 2 squared is 4. So minus 4 times minus 2, it becomes plus 8. So I will get plus 8, then minus 13. So at last, for the final answer, you'll be getting minus 2 times x plus 2 squared. So plus 8 minus 13 is basically minus 5. So that's the solution for 2a. Alright. So now for the b, find the range of f. So to get the range of f, even though your x is minus 3, right? So now we need to replace the value first, right? Now, another important information that you get from the previous step is, when you look at this form, we are actually getting a maximum point with coordinates minus 2, because when you let x plus 2 be 0, your x is minus 2. So the coordinates of the maximum point will be minus 2 and minus 5. Okay, so this minus 2 outside here is to decide whether it's maximum or minimum. So just a simple sketch. Okay, so when it is minus 2 and minus 5, let's say this is a graph. Alright, so if I simply sketch a graph, I'm getting this graph. Alright, so now, but then we cannot accept all the x. Our x is just from less than minus 3. For x less than minus 3, which means here onwards. Alright, that means our graph is just this part. Okay, so from here, since it is before the maximum points, means that to get the range, you can directly replace the x values by minus 3. So therefore, to solve this question, I will just calculate f minus 3. Alright, so now, to be safe, you can just substitute back into the original form. Otherwise, if you are confident that this part A is correct, then you can just directly replace the x by minus 3. Okay, so now we will just replace the x by minus 3. I will use the original function. Okay, so at last from here you'll be getting minus 7. So it means that when you refer to the graph, here is basically minus 7. So now, right, based on the graph, all your y values will be below or less than minus 7, because it's towards the negative part. I mean, it will be going down the graph. So now I will write range of fx is basically less than minus 7. Alright, so we use less than minus 7 without the equal sign because your x does not have the equal sign. Alright, so that is the solution for the part B. So now, see, find an expression for the f inverse. So to get the f inverse, since our graph is here now, that means it has one-to-one function, it has one-to-one mapping, or it is a one-to-one function, therefore the inverse function exists. So now I will refer back to the completed square form to get the inverse function. So let y equals to fx. Alright, so now my y is negative 2 bracket x plus 2 square minus 5. And now we need to get the x as a subject. So I will write minus 2 bracket x plus 2 squared equals to y plus 5. Then x plus 2, it will be, alright, x plus 2 squared first, it will be y plus 5 divided by minus 2. Then now, move the square to the other side. So x plus 2, it will be plus minus square root y plus 5 over minus 2. Then my x is going to be, by moving the plus 2 to the right hand side, it will be minus 2. But now, you cannot write plus minus, because if plus minus, then the inverse function does not exist. Okay, so you have to choose whether it's plus or minus. But by looking at the range here, we know that your function is always negative. I mean, it is less than negative 7. Now, to get less than negative 7, we have to choose minus. Okay? So this is how we decide whether you choose plus or minus. It depends on the range. So now, once you get the x as a subject, change it to f inverse, and followed by changing the y to x. So this will be our inverse function. Alright, so now question 3a. Find the first three terms in the ascending powers of x in this expansion, 1 plus 2x to the power 5. So now, 1 plus 2x to the power 5. Since this is positive integer for the power, which is 5, then we may use the binomial expansion formula. So for your information, binomial expansion formula is a plus b degree n. It is a degree n plus nc1, a degree n minus 1, b degree 1, plus nc2 a n minus 2 times b squared plus until b degree n, which means you are decreasing the first term degree and increasing the second term degree. Okay, so now by using this formula, I will be getting 1 degree 5 plus 5c1, then 1 degree 4, 2x degree 1. Because of ascending powers of x means that the degree of x is increasing. So then plus 5c2, after that 1 degree 3, then 2x degree 2. So that's all, because we need to find first three terms. Alright, but then this is not the full expansion, therefore I just write plus dot dot dot. Now when you simplify, 1 degree 5 is 1, 5c1 is 5, then you times 1 degree 4 is still 1, then 2x, it will be 10x. Okay, then now for 5c2 times 1 cube times 2x cube, you just use calculator, everything will be 40. So these are my first three terms in this expansion. Now for b, find the first three terms in ascending powers of x for another equation, for another function. So here 1 minus 3x to the power 4. Okay, so from here I can say that this is basically 1 plus negative 3x then to the power 4. So which means now my a remains as 1, but my b, okay, for you to use this formula, you must make sure that it is sum. It is a plus. So now my b becomes a negative value. That's why I purposely make it to 1 plus bracket negative 3x, so that my b is negative. So now use back the same formula, 1 degree 4 plus 4c1, 1 degree 3, then negative 3x degree 1 plus 4c2, 1 degree 2, then negative 3x degree 2 plus dot dot dot. Now here when you simplify, first term still 1, but the second term, since there's a negative here, that means you'll get negative 12x. But the third term, you will get a positive because square of negative. So at last, you will be getting 54x squared. So these are the first three terms of the part B. Okay, now part C. Hence, find the coefficient for x squared in the expansion of these two terms. So hence means use the previous answer. So now, let's copy the question. Okay, so because of the hence, now I need to rewrite the expansion that I found from A and B. So the first expansion has three terms, 1 plus 10x plus 40x squared. So I will write here, 1 plus 10x plus 40x squared multiply with 1 minus 3x degree 4, which are these three terms. So 1 minus 12x plus 54x squared. Then plus dot dot dot. Now, our concern is to get the coefficient for x squared. So from here, I will just concentrate on the x squared, means that now this one multiplied by 54 x squared. I will get 54 x squared. Okay, then for the second term, I have to write 10x multiplied by negative 12x. I will be getting the x squared. So here it will be negative 120 x squared. And at last, this 40 x squared must multiply by 1. So I will get plus 40 x squared. But of course, these are not the only terms when you do the expansion. So I will just write plus dot dot dot, because our concern will be the terms with the x squared, or the coefficients of x squared. So now when you simplify these three terms, it will be negative 26 x squared plus the rest of the terms. So once you have obtained this, then you can just write down the coefficient of x squared equals to negative 26. Alright, so that's all for the C. Okay, now for question 4, a large industrial water tank is such that when the depth of the water in the tank is x meters, so means that the x is the depth of the water, the volume V meter cube of water in the tank is given by V equals to 243 minus 1 over 3 times cube of 9 minus x. Now water is being pumped into the tank at a constant rate of 3.6 meter cube per hour. Okay, so now from here, whenever you see the rate, that means this is d over dt. Okay, and since water, or you can just look at the units here, this is meter cube, which means meter cube is the volume. Alright, it is the units for volume. So I will write dv dt is positive 3.6. We use positive here because it's pumped into. That means the volume is going to increase. Alright, if it is decreasing, then you have to write minus negative 3.6 for the dv dt. Right, it's a negative value. So now, and I get v equals to 243 minus 1 over 3 of 9 minus x cubed. So these are the information that I can extract from the first paragraph. Now find the rate. So again, rate means d over dt. Of increase means that the answer is a positive. Of the depth of water. So the depth of water is basically x. Right? So the depth is x. So now you need to find what is dx dt. When the depth is 4 meters. So when x equals to 4. And give your answer in centimeter per minute. Just now was meter cube per hour. Okay, so remember this is meter cube per hour. Alright, so now first of all, to solve this question, you need to apply the chain rule, because we need to find dx dt. But before we apply chain rule, you need to differentiate the v. So that's why your dv dx, okay, so differentiate 243 is a constant, you get 0. Negative 1 over 3 you remain. And now when you differentiate cube of 9 minus x, you bring down the 3. Bring down the power, rewrite the function. The degree becomes 2, because 3 minus 1 is 2. And then when you differentiate the bracket, differentiate 9 minus x, you will be getting minus 1. Okay, so from here, when you simplify, the 1 over 3 and 3 can be cancelled off. Together with the minus also cancel off. Then basically you are getting 9 minus x squared for your dv dx. Okay, so from here, you can calculate what is the value first when the x equals to 4. Alright, so now when x equals to 4, dv dx is 9 minus 4 squared, which is 5 squared, and I will get 25. Okay, so at last, now to get the dx dt, okay, we need to count this value. Dx dt is going to be dx dv times dv over dt. Okay, so now dx dv we have counted, which is 25. Alright, so then you multiply with dv dt. So dv dt is 3.6. Alright, so from here, you will get, okay, now Careful with this. dv dx is 25, but then this is dx dv. So dx dv is 1 over dv dx. So I should write 1 over 25 here. Alright, so when you simplify, this will be 0.144, but the unit is meter. Okay, you see here, meter per hour. Alright, and now the question is asking for centimeter per minute. So now we need to do a conversion. So we know that 100 meter, 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So you times 100 over 1 hour has 60 minutes. Right? So here to get per minute, here is going to be 60. So per minute, per means divide. Alright? So now once you have written this units becomes centimeter per minute. So now at last we will be getting 0.24 centimeter per minute. Okay. So if you want, in the beginning you can write meter per hour here. So that's all for this working of question 4. Now question 5. You are given a diagram. Okay, this is the diagram. Now the diagram shows a curve which has a maximum point at 812. This is the 812. And a minimum point at 80. Now, the curve is the result of applying a combination of two transformations to the circle. So the initial diagram is a circle. Now, the first transformation applied is a translation of 7 minus 3. Okay, and the second transformation applied is a stretch in the y-axis, in the y direction. Now, A, state the scale factor of the stretch. Okay, so for the part A, let's look at the dimension first. Alright, so for the vertical dimension, the vertical length, we know that here is going to be 12. Here is 12. Alright, so now the horizontal distance is 10 minus 6, which is 4. So we know that originally it was a circle. So this is a diameter. Alright, so from here we know that supposedly here is 4, here is also 4 for the original circle. But now your y distance, the vertical distance has been changed to 12. The horizontal distance no change because it is a stretch in the y direction. That means I know that the scale factor is actually 12 over 4. Which is 3. Okay, because it's a triple of the horizontal length. Alright, so now state the radius of the original circle. So from here we know that there's no change in the horizontal distance, which means this is a diameter. Alright, so we know that the diameter is going to be 4. So when the diameter is 4 means that the radius is 2. So radius is 2. Okay, so now see, state the coordinates of the center of the circle. This is the center of the circle after the translation has been completed, but before the stretch is applied. Okay, so now we will look at the maximum and minimum point. So the maximum point is 812, minimum point is 80. So now what I'm going to write here is maximum point is 812, minimum point is 80. Okay, so since this is before the stretch but after the translation, so we know that these 2 points are after the stretch. Alright, so these are the new points after the stretch. So the original points, okay, just before the stretch, it will be, right, look at the scale factor 3 here. So since this is a stretch in the y direction, that means it will affect your y coordinate, right? So when you stretch means that the y coordinates will be triple longer than the original y values, which means your original points will be having 8 and 12 over 3 because the scale factor is 3. So from here we know that it is 8 then 4. Alright, so then the minimum point is going to be 8 then 0 divided by 3, which means it's going to be 80. So now, okay, so before the stretch and after the translation, my point is actually at 84 and 80. So what I need to do here is 84, which is here. So now 84 and 80. So it means this is my original maximum point right after the translation. So when this is the maximum point, now you can check here. The distance here is 4 units. Alright, and then the horizontal distance no change, which means I will be getting a circle over here, which means my center is actually at 8, 2. Okay, so that is how I get the center. Sorry, this is the center. Oh no, this is a center. Then it will be 8, 2. Okay, so now for D, state the coordinates of the center of the original circle. Alright, so I will say here is not original points, but I will say maximum points lah. Alright, so now state the coordinates of the center of the original circle. So now we know that the center is at 8, 2 after the translation, but before the stretch. Means that here is my center. Okay, but then this is after the translation of 7 minus 3. So for your information, 7 here means that you move the original point, okay, 7 units to the right hand side. So since this is a new circle after the translation, means that now I have to move back. So now I have to move backwards, right, to the left hand side for 7 units. So here is going to be 2 units, 4, here 2, here 2, here another 2, so already 6. So I need to move here 1 unit so that the total is 7, right? And now this minus 3 means that you are moving down the original circle 3 units. So now I need to go back to the original center now. That means I have to move up. So I move up 3 units. Here is 2 units. Then here is another 1 unit. Alright, which means my circle will have this center. The original center will be here, which means now my coordinates will be 1 and 5. Okay, so here you can just write 1 and 5. That's it. Alright, so that's all for this question. Now question 6, it is given that alpha equals to arc cos 8 over 17. Find without using trigonometric functions on your calculator. Alright, so the exact value of 1 over sine alpha plus 1 over tangent alpha. So from here, right, so 1 over sine alpha plus 1 over tangent alpha. So we can just get it from this alpha equals to inverse cos or arc cos 8 over 17. So alpha equals to arc cos 8 over 17, which means cos alpha is 8 over 17. So now I can simply sketch, right? So let's say this is a right angle triangle and this angle is alpha. Now we know that for the cos, it will be adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent is 8, hypotenuse is 17, which means the opposite side is going to be square root of 17 squared minus 8 squared, which is 15. Okay, so now substitute into 1 over sine. So sine alpha is basically opposite side over hypotenuse, which means it's 15 over 17. Then plus 1 over the tangent is going to be opposite over adjacent. So opposite over adjacent. So 15 over 8. So when simplify, it's going to be 17 over 15 plus 8 over 15. So you will get 25 over 15 at last. Okay, since the question asks for is asking for exact value, so it means that you can just simplify. So 25 over 15, it will be 5 over 3. Alright, so that's the solution for this question. Okay, now question 7. The curve y equals to fx is such that f prime x is negative 3 over x plus 2 to the power 4. So the tangent at the point on the curve where x equals to a has gradients of negative 16 over 27. Find the possible values of a. For your information, the gradients of tangent is basically dy dx, or what we call as f prime x over here. So now f prime x is negative 3 over x plus 2 degree 4. But we know that x equals to a, when x equals to a here, the gradient, which is the f prime a, is going to be negative 16 over 27. Alright, so from here, you can just directly replace f prime, you replace the x by a, at the same time, this f prime x will be replaced by negative 16 over 27. So I will get negative 16 over 27 for the left hand side. Right hand side is going to be negative 3 over x is a now, a plus 2 degree 4. Okay, so now I rewrite. So here is going to be negative 16 over 27. Now from here, to get the a, first of all, you can cancel off the negative from both sides. And then to get the a, this a plus 4, a plus 2 to the power 4, you can move up first. So I will get a plus 2 to the power 4 equals to 3 times 27 over 16. Alright, so it will be 81 over 16. Then after that, move the 4 to the other side. So I will get a plus 2 equals to plus minus fourth root. Okay, not square root, is fourth root. So because it's power 4. So now, why do we need to write plus minus? So for your information, whenever the degree is an even number, so when you move the degree to the other side, it should be plus minus. Alright, so here, 81 over 16. So now I will get a plus 2 is plus minus fourth root of this is going to be 9 over 4. So now we split it into two values, 1 plus 1 minus. A plus 2 equals to 9 over 4, or a plus 2 equals to negative 9 over 4. So your a is going to be 9 over 4 minus 2, and you will get negative half. Oh, sorry, this is fourth root of 81 over 16 is not 9 over 4, because 9 over 4 is square root. So here I'm getting 3 over 2. Okay, when you count. So here is going to be 3 over 2. Here is 3 over 2. Alright, so 3 over 2 minus 2 is going to be negative half. And another one is negative 3 over 2 minus 2 is going to be negative 7 over 2. Okay, so that's why the question asks for possible values of a. So you will be getting more than one value of a. So that's it for this a. Now, for the b, find fx given that the curve passes through the point. So when you need to find fx from the f prime x, we need to integrate. So first of all, I will rewrite my f prime x. F prime x is going to be negative 3 over fourth root degree 4 of x plus 2. So negative 3 over degree 4 of x plus 2. Now, first of all, we need to integrate. But before we integrate, the x is the denominator, right? Therefore, we have to move up before we integrate. So we will integrate minus 3 times by x plus 2 to the power of negative 4. So now my fx is the integration of negative 3 x plus 2 to the power of negative 4 with respect to x. Okay, now we are using this formula. So integrate ax plus b to the power of n dx is going to be ax plus b to the power of n plus 1 over new degree, which is n plus 1. Differentiate ax plus b is a, and since this no limits, therefore plus c. So I'm going to apply this formula. Now, keep the minus 3, okay? You can always take out the constants because it's multiplication. And then to integrate this term, now you compare, alright? So what to do? Rewrite the whole function. The degree always plus 1. So minus 4 plus 1 is going to be minus 3 over the new degree, minus 3. And differentiate the bracket x plus 4, it is 1. Then now, plus c. Okay, so now simplify. So from here, minus 3 can be cancelled off. Okay, and then the negative degree can be moved down. So when I move it down, I will get 1 over x plus, oh sorry, this is plus 2, not plus 4. Okay, here is plus 2, mistake. Here is plus 2, so it's going to be x plus 2 cubed, then plus c. Alright, and now you are given the point with coordinates minus 1 and 5, means that the x is minus 1, fx is 5. So x is minus 1, fx is 5. So from here, I'm able to get my c. So left hand side is 5. Right hand side, first term is 1 over negative 1 plus 2 cubed plus c. So which means minus 1 plus 2 is minus 1. You cube it, it will be minus 1 as well. So this is what I'm getting now. 5 equals to minus 1 plus c. Hence your c is going to be 6. Oh, wait. Okay, minus 1 plus 2 is 1. Alright, minus 1 plus 2 is 1. 1 cube is 1. Therefore, you will be getting 4 for the c. Alright, so final answer, the equation. Okay, find fx. So just write fx. Fx is going to be 1 over x plus 2 cubed, then plus 4. Alright, so that's the solution for this question. Okay, now question 8. The diagram shows two identical circles intersecting at the points A and B. These are the points A and B with centers P and Q. So since they are identical means that they will be having the same radius. And the radius of each circle is R. So here is R. And the distance PQ is 5 over 3R. Okay, here is 5 over 3R. Now, find the perimeter of the shaded region in terms of R. So, the perimeter of the shaded region means here. For your information, this AB is the arc length of the whole sector ABP, and here is the sector arc length of the sector AQB. But since both are identical circle means that both are the same length, okay? So we just need to find the arc length of this part, then you times 2. That will be the perimeter already. Okay, now, but before that, we need to calculate the angle. So I need to find this angle, right? So now, what we need to do is I define let angle APQ, which means it's here. Let this be theta. Alpha, okay, alpha APQ equals to alpha. Now, from here, we may get the alpha value first, alright? So you can just draw a triangle. So for your information, alright, since this PQ is 5 over 3R, P and Q are P and Q are centers of the identical circles, which means in the middle here is going to be radius. Here is, it's not the radius, it's the half of 5 over 3r because it divides equally. Okay, so that's why I'm going to use this triangle to get the alpha value. Alright, so now I will draw it here. This is my alpha. So this is r, this is p, this is a. Okay, which means this horizontal distance is going to be this part. Okay, which means it's half of 5 over 3r. Which means here is going to be half of 5 over 3r, which means it is 5 over 6r. Okay, and now we need to get the alpha value because later we need to get the total of this, the angle, which is 2 alpha, in order to get the arc length of AB. So now my alpha is going to be, okay, now when you look at this triangle, this right angle triangle, we have the adjacent side with value 5 over 6r and the hypotenuse r. So adjacent and hypotenuse, that means it is cos. Alright, so I will write cos alpha is 5 over 6r divided by r, which means it is 5 over 6r. Alright, so now my alpha is inverse cos, sorry, the r is cancelled, no more r. So inverse cos 5 over 6. And now, by using calculator and leave your answer in radians, it's going to be 0.58569. So I'm leaving my answer more than 3 significant figures because later on I need to multiply by 2. Okay, so from here, right? So now my theta, or I could say that my angle APB, right? APB, just now we found APQ. So angle APB is 2 alpha. Okay, so 2 times 0.58569. Alright, so here you may get 1.17138 radians. Okay, so now to get the perimeter of the shaded region, it is 2 of arc length of the sector APQ, APB, sorry, APB, okay, APB, arc length of sector APB, alright, which is here, APB, this is the length, but then we double it because we need to find perimeter. So now, we need to use this whole angle together with the R, that will be the arc length of APB. Right? So, I will write this is 2, then the angle is 1.17138, then R. And at last, you will be getting 2.34 R. So that's the perimeter of the shaded region. Okay, so now part B. Find the area of the shaded region in terms of R. So now, let's look at the diagram. So again, when you need to find area of the shaded region, right? So now, we need to get this part. So what I need to do is, the easiest way is, find the area of the sector minus area of this triangle, which means I'm getting this part and then I multiply by 2, okay, because it is symmetrical. Alright, so now area of shaded region is double of area of sector APB minus area of the triangle APB. Okay, so area of sector is basically half, okay, this is basically half r squared angle. So now I'm getting 2 times half r squared. Now my angle is the theta, which means it is, my theta is 1.17138. So 1.17138 minus area of triangle. Okay, now area of triangle, let's say this is a triangle, or I would say I will just use back this triangle, it will be better. So area of triangle, given this angle here, it is actually half of these two sides, multiplication of these two sides, then sine angle. Alright, so since here is r, that means the PB is also r. So I'm getting half r sine the angle. So it's going to be half r sine angle 1.17138. Okay, so when you simplify this, at last you will be getting 0.250 r. So remember, when you need to count these values, the angle now is in radians. Okay, so make sure you change the mode of the calculator to radians before you do the calculation. Okay, so that's the solution for part B. Now for question 9. The first term of a geometric progression is 216. So now A is 216. This is geometric progression. And the fourth term is 64. So fourth term is basically AR cube equals to 64. Now A, find the sum to infinity. So first of all, we need to find the R. Okay, so substitute first into second. So 216 R cube is 64, which means R cube is 64 over 216. So your R, okay, this is basically 8 over 27. So your R is going to be 8 over 27 to the power of 1 over 3. At last, you will be getting 2 over 3. So with the A and with the R, we can find sum to infinity. So now sum to infinity, S infinity is A over 1 minus R. So which is 216 over 1 minus 2 over 3. So I will get 216 divided by 1 over 3. Alright, so at last you will be getting 648. So that's the sum to infinity of the geometric progression. Okay, now B. The second term of geometric progression is equal to the second term of the arithmetic progression. Alright, so now the third term of the geometric progression is equal to fifth term of the same arithmetic progression. Now B, find the sum of the first 21 terms of the arithmetic progression. Okay, so now for geometric progression, if it is second term, the formula is going to be AR. So equals to second term of the arithmetic progression. So second term of arithmetic progression is A plus D. Alright, now the third term of geometric progression is AR squared equals to fifth term of the arithmetic progression. Fifth term is A plus 4D because we are using arithmetic progression. Tn is a plus n minus 1d. Okay, so now from here, you need to find S21 for AP. So S21 for AP. Alright, so from here, what we need to do is we replace the left hand side first, because just now we have found the A and R. So the A is 216, the I is 2 over 3. Okay, replace first to reduce the unknowns. So from here, I will get 216 times 2 over 3 equals to, so this part I'm going to erase it, equals to A plus D. Alright, so 216 times 2 over 3 is going to be 144. 144 is A plus D. Let this be first equation. And then for the second equation, my A is 216. Again, my R is 2 over 3. But now I need to square it. It will be A plus 4D. So when you simplify, the left hand side is going to be 96. Right hand side is A plus 4D. That is my second equation. So before you get the sum of the arithmetic progression, we need to find the first term and the common difference of the arithmetic progression, which is the A and D. So now, since you have the same A, 1A from both equations, so I'm going to use elimination method. First equation minus second equation. Left hand side, 144 minus 96, you will get 48. Then right hand side, A minus A is going to be 0. D minus 4D, it is negative 3D. Then now my D is 48 divided by negative 3, it will be negative 16. Alright, once you have found the D, then you may find the A by replacing the D value in the first equation. So I use the first equation. Now to get the A, so move the D to the left hand side. It's going to be 144 minus D. So at last you will be getting 144 minus negative 16. So now my A is 160. Okay, so now go back to the question. Sum of first 21 terms of arithmetic progression. So arithmetic progression Sn is n over 2 bracket 2a plus n minus 1 times d. So now my n is 21 because sum of first 21 terms. S21 is 21 over 2. 2a, my a is 160 plus n minus 1. So your n is 21, n minus 1 becomes 20. The d is minus 16. Alright, so when you calculate all these values, it will be 0. So that is the sum of the first 21 terms for this arithmetic progression. Okay, so let's move on to question 10. Now the diagram shows the circle x squared plus y squared is 2. Okay, the equation is over here. And the straight line y equals to 2x minus 1. This is the straight line that joining A and B, intersecting at the points A and B. So these are the two intersection points. The points D on the x-axis is such that AD is perpendicular to the x-axis. Alright, here is 90 degrees. So find the coordinates of A. So from this question, okay, since your A is one of the intersection points, so the easiest way to solve A is solve these two simultaneous equations. Alright, so now x squared plus y squared equals to 2. That's the first equation. Then straight line y equals to 2x minus 1, which is here, second equation. So now I'm going to replace the y in the first equation by the second equation. So substitute second into first. So x squared plus the y will be replaced by 2x minus 1. Then you square it, that equals to 2. Alright, so now do expansion. First term remains, and then second term square of 2x minus 1. Alright, so use this quadratic formula. A plus b squared is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. If it is minus, then the middle term is minus. Alright, so now it will be 4x squared. So 2x times minus 1 times 2 is going to be negative 4x. Square of minus 1 is plus 1. This will be the quadratic expansion and equals to 2. So now simplify. X squared plus 4x squared is 5x squared minus 4x. This 2, move it to the left hand side, it becomes negative 1. Then equals to 0. Factorize this quadratic equation. You will get two factors, x minus 1 and 5x plus 1. Right? So now x minus 1 equals to 0 or 5x plus 1 equals to 0. Hence, now your x equals to 1 or x equals to minus 1 over 5. Now, let's look at the diagram, because just now we know that there are two intersection points, A and B. So, and we are interested to get the coordinates of the A now. So we have to choose a proper x. Now, from here, obviously your A is positive, the x coordinate. Then the B will have the negative value for the x coordinate. Okay, so from here, I will choose x equals to 1. Alright, so now to get the coordinates of the points A, we need to get the y as well, which is from the second equation. So now from second equation, the y is 2x minus 1, which is 1. So at last, just write down A is with coordinates x is 1, y is 1. So this is how we solve the point A. Okay, now B. Find the volume of revolution when the shaded region is rotated through 360 degrees about the x-axis. Give your answer in the form of pi over a times b square root c minus d, where a, b, c, d are integers. So now you need to calculate volume of revolution about the x-axis for 360 degrees. Okay, let's look at the diagram. So now we know that x coordinates for the A is 1. Okay, and now we need to find out what is this point. So this point, remember, this is a circle, here is a center, so we can find the radius. As long as you know the radius, then you can find this point. So now let's refer back to the original equation of the circle. So x squared plus y squared equals to 2. Alright, so the equation of circle general form is x minus a squared plus y minus b squared equals to r squared. So obviously this is x squared plus y squared equals to square of square root 2. Therefore, the radius is 2. Radius of the circle. Sorry, radius of the circle is square root 2, because 2 is the r squared. So now from here, I know that, okay, here is square root 2. So if here is square root 2, which means this point is going to be square root 2. Alright, so now for the area, for the volume of this region, okay, is basically the volume for the region bounded by the circle from x equals to 1 until square root 2. Alright, and now you are rotating at the x-axis. So we can just write volume equals to pi integrate y square dx. Then the x from 1 to square root 2. Okay, so now to get y square, now x square plus y square is 2, because this is a circle equation. So from here, my y square is going to be 2 minus x squared. So now replace the y squared by 2 minus x squared. So now when we integrate, okay, so integrate 2 is going to be 2x. Integrate x squared, it will be x cubed over 3. Then limits from 1 to square root 2. Okay, so now replace the values. So pi 2 bracket square root 2 minus square root 2 cube over 3, then minus, where x is 1, so 2 times 1 minus square root 1 cube over 3. So now at last you will get, okay, so when you simplify, you can just count first. 2 root 2 cube of root 2 is basically 2 root 2. Okay, because the question says this form, right? So we must simplify. So now bring in the minus. This is minus 2. The minus and minus is plus. So 1 over 3. So now 2 root 2 minus 2 root 2 over 3 is going to be 2 root 2 bracket 1 minus 1 over 3 is 2 over 3. Okay. Then here minus 2 plus 1 over 3 is going to be minus 5 over 3. So to get the form, let's look at the answer. You need to get pi over a. Okay, pi over a. Then b root c minus d. So means that now I have to factorize the over 3. So I will get pi over 3. So once you have factorized the over 3, the denominator, that means now you have to do expansion. Here is going to be 4 root 2 minus 5. Okay, now again compare with the given form. Your given form is the root, then minus a d. So now we have found all the a, b, c, d. So this is the volume. Alright. Now see, find an exact expression for the perimeter of the shaded region. Okay, so now we need the exact value for the perimeter. So let's look at the diagram. Okay, now we know that the A with coordinates 1, 1, which means here is 1 unit. Right? So then we can find this D to this point, which is square root 2 minus 1. And then now we need to find what is this length. Okay, so when we need to find this length, alright, we need to refer to gradient. Okay, this is a gradient. So now, or I would say that this length is basically the arc length of the sector. So when we need to find the arc length of the sector, we have to find this value. Okay, so this angle as well. So I need to find what is this angle. Alright, so now we know that OA is the radius, which means this is square root 2 as well. Okay, and here is also radius. This is square root 2, which means when you refer to this triangle, this is a triangle. Alright, the length OD is basically, you look at here, OD is 1. Right, so the length OD is 1, and then the OA is square root 2. So I can find the angle AOD. So once I get the angle AOD, I can find the arc length, which is this part. Alright, so now I will say that here is AOD. OD is 1 because the A with x coordinate 1. Here is square root 2. This is the angle, theta. So now my theta, since when you refer to this right angle triangle, OD is the adjacent side of the angle, OA is the hypotenuse. So adjacent and hypotenuse, it will be OD, or you can say that this is 1 as well. Okay, it's up to you. So probably I will just use OD and AD. Let's check. Okay. Alright, So you can use any two sides, right? So the easiest is I use AD and OD. So opposite and adjacent. You may use adjacent and hypotenuse. It's up to you. It will be the same answer. So opposite and hypotenuse, opposite and adjacent, it will be tangent. So I will write tangent theta is 1 over 1, which is 1. Okay, therefore my theta is pi over 4. Inverse tangent 1 is pi over 4. So I know that here is going to be pi over 4. Now, go back to the diagram. I have found the angle. Okay, here. That means here is pi over 4. Here is square root 2. Here is going to be 1. Alright, this length, you can find root 2 minus 1. Now, this length, which is the arc length of the sector, is going to be theta r. Right, so this is my r, this is my theta. So now, perimeter of the shaded region is theta r, okay, which is the arc length of the sector. Here, found already. And then this part is going to be 1 because the y coordinates for the A is 1. And then together with this horizontal distance, it will be root 2 minus 1. So 1 plus root 2 minus 1. So here, plus 1 plus square root 2 minus 1. Okay, so since it's mentioned exact, so now need to simplify. So the first term is pi root 2 over 4. Then plus 1 and minus 1 will be simplified to be 0. So these two cancel off, then plus root 2. Okay, so from here, you may factorize root 2. Root 2 is in common. And normally, if you have any fraction, we will factorize the fraction as well. So I factorize over 4. So it means that first term left pi, second term will left plus 4. So this will be the exact perimeter of the shaded region. Okay, so now let's move on to question 11. The coordinates of points A, B, C are given. So A with coordinates 5 minus 2, B with coordinates 10, 3, and C with coordinates 2, P, P, where P is a constant. So now A, given that AC and BC are equal in length, find the value of the fraction P. So which means AC equals to BC. So the length formula, right? The length formula is basically square root of x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared. This is the length formula. Let's say this is AB. Alright, so from here I will write square root of AC, A and C. So I will write 2p minus 5 squared plus p minus minus 2. So it becomes p plus 2 squared equals to square root of BC. So BC. So I will use 2p minus 10 squared plus p minus 3 squared. Now, when you have this, the easiest way to simplify the square root is by squaring both sides. So when I square both sides, right? So then the square and square root will be cancelled off. So the square and square root cancel off, square and square root cancel off. Now what we need to do here is you will have the quadratic expansion. So I will have 2p minus 5 squared plus p plus 2 squared equals to 2p minus 10 squared plus p minus 3 squared. So now to get the p value, okay, find the value means only one answer. We need to do the expansion. So again, use the quadratic expansion. So square of 2p minus 5 is going to be 4p squared minus 20p plus 25. Square of p plus 2, it will be p squared plus 4p plus 4. Then for the right hand side, square of 2p minus 10 is going to be 4p squared minus 40p plus 100. Then square of p minus 3 will be p squared minus 6p plus 9. Okay, so now we can simplify all the terms first before we move all the terms to one of the sides. You see, the 4p squared exists on both sides, then we can cancel off. The p squared also, both sides. Alright, so then the rest you need to simplify. So minus 20p plus 4p is going to be minus 16p. 25 plus 4 is 29. Then minus 40p minus 6p on the right hand side becomes minus 46p. 100 plus 9 is 109. Okay, so to find the p, move the negative 46p to the left hand side. Right, and move the 29 to the right side. So minus 16p plus 46p equals to 109 minus 29. So left hand side will be 30p, right hand side will be 80. Therefore, the p is 8 over 3. Okay, that's the value for p. Okay, so let's move on to b. Now it's now given that instead that AC is perpendicular to BC and that P is an integer, find the P value. So we don't use back the previous P value. So now AC is perpendicular to BC. Now when perpendicular means that the multiplication of both gradients will be negative 1. Alright, so I will write down the coordinates first. A will be 5 minus 2. B 10, 3. C will be 2p and p. Okay, so now I need to calculate gradients of AC because it's mentioned AC is perpendicular to BC. So now gradients of AC, alright, so M is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That is the gradients formula. So now I will use 2p minus 5. Sorry, this is a y, not the x. So the y is going to be p minus 2 over 2p minus 5 by using this formula. So now simplify, it will be p plus 2 over 2p minus 5. Now, gradients of BC. So again, p minus 3 over 2p minus 10. Okay, so AC is perpendicular to BC, which means MAC times MBC equals to minus 1. That's the properties of the perpendicular. So now I will multiply p plus 2 over 2p minus 5 multiplied by p minus 3 over 2p minus 10 equals to minus 1. So now we need to move this denominator to the right side. So I will write p plus 2 multiplied by p minus 3 is negative. Negative 1, you can just write negative. Then 2p minus 5 times 2p minus 10. Okay, so now we need to do expansion. So when we do expansion, p squared, here is minus 3p, then plus 2p minus 6 equals to, keep the minus outside. 2p is 4p squared. 2p times minus 10 is negative 20p. Then here is going to be negative 10p. At last, plus 50. Okay, but then don't forget the negative. So now, when we need to solve, you can just move all the terms to the right side, or to one of the sides. Okay, so I will say that my left hand side is p squared minus p minus 6. My right hand side is going to be negative of 4p squared minus 20p minus 10p is going to be negative 30p, then plus 50. Okay, so now you are getting this. So when we solve, you can just move all the terms to the left hand side. Okay, let me check. Yeah. Okay, so when I solve, I will move all the terms to the left hand side. So now it becomes plus. Because initially you multiply the brackets with minus. So now all becomes plus. And you can direct open the brackets. Then equals to 0. Okay, so from here, I will get 5p squared minus 30p minus 1p, which is minus 31p. 50 minus 6, which is plus 44, equals to 0. And again, by factorizing this quadratic equation, you will be getting p minus 4 as a first factor, and the second factor is 5p minus 11. Alright, so now either p minus 4 equals to 0 or 5p minus 11 equals to 0, which means your p equals to 4 or p equals to 11 over 5. Okay, so now let's look at the question. Now the question says value of p. There's only one value is allowed. And then how to decide the p? Must refer to this condition. P is an integer. Okay, so now since p is an integer, that means hence, okay, p must be 4. Right? And not both values. Okay, so now part 2. Find the equation of the circle which passes through A, B, C, giving your answer in this form, where A, B, C are constants. So, okay, so I rewrite my coordinates. A, just now, 5 minus 2. My B with coordinates 10, 3. Okay, 10, 3. Then my C with coordinates. Okay, now for the C, since we have found the P equals to 4, okay, so now you refer back to here because we have found the P value. So P is 4, that means the X coordinate becomes 8, then the Y coordinate is 4. So 8 is 4. Okay, so to get the equation of the circle which is in this form, you may just substitute all the points into this equation and solve the simultaneous equations. Okay, so for A, 5, negative 2, I substitute into this. X squared means 5 squared plus negative 2 squared. Right, substitute into here. Plus AX plus BY plus C equals to 0. So simplify 25 plus 4 plus 5A minus 2B plus C equals to 0. And hence now you will get 5A minus 2B plus C equals to negative 29. First equation. Okay, so from the points B, 10, 3. Use the same method. So x squared means 10 squared plus 3 squared, which is our y squared here, plus a times x, x is 10, plus b times y, plus c equals to 0. So here 100 plus 9 plus 10a plus 3b plus c equals to 0. Therefore, 10a plus 3b plus c is negative 109. That is our second equation. And now for the point C with coordinates 8, 4. So again, x squared, 8 squared plus 4 squared plus ax plus b times 4 plus c equals to 0. So 8 squared is 64, 4 squared is 16, 8a plus 4b plus c equals to 0. And now, when you need to solve, you will get 8a plus 4b plus c equals to, okay, 64 plus 16 is going to be 80. So when you move it to the other side, it becomes negative 80. These are the three equations. Okay, so what to do now here is, by looking at all this, you will notice that the first three equations with c, okay, with positive c here, positive c, positive c, positive c, means now I can simplify, I can eliminate the c first. Okay, so I will get my first equation or second equation minus first equation. So I will write second equation minus first equation. So 10a minus 5a is going to be 5a. 3b minus 2b, which is 5b plus 5b. Then plus c minus plus c, 0. Minus 10 minus 109. Okay, I will write minus 109 minus 29. Okay, so from here, I will get 5a plus 5b equals to 80, negative 80. Okay, so from here, I can divide the whole equation by 5. So when I divide by the whole equation by 5, I will get, okay, so probably I just write next line, divide by 5. So I will get a plus b equals to negative 16. This is my fourth equation. So now my fourth equation only has a and b. Okay, so to get the other equation, maybe just now I used equation 2 and 1. Okay, so now I use equation 2 and 3 to eliminate the c as well, because I need to get another equation in terms of a and b. So now here I may use second minus third. So again, for the first term, 10a minus 8a is going to be 2a. Then 3b minus 4b is minus b. The c will be cancelled off. Then I will get negative 109 minus 80 for the right hand side. So from here, 2a minus b is negative 29. Okay, so we cannot further simplify this anymore, just leave it as equation 5. So now solve fourth and fifth equation. So you will notice that the coefficient for b from the fourth equation is plus 1, and the coefficient of b for the fifth equation is minus 1. Okay, so now to solve the fourth and fifth equation, I can just plus these two equations together in order to eliminate the b. So fourth plus fifth. So a plus 2a is going to be 3a, right? So when you refer to here, this is a, you plus 2a is 3a. Then the plus b, right? Plus with minus b, it becomes 0. So here I will get equals to negative 16 plus negative 29 for the right hand side. So I will get my 3a is negative 45. Therefore, my a is negative 15. Okay, found the first unknown. Now, once you have found the a, to find the b, okay, I may use the equation 4. Right? So now here I will just write, if you use the following line, okay, so this is question 11. Question 11, part 2. Okay, so now I will substitute into the fourth equation to get the b. So now my b is basically minus 16 minus A. So now my B is minus 16 minus A, which is minus 16 minus, my A is negative 15. So negative 15. Therefore, my B is minus 1. Okay, so found the B. This is my B. Then now we found the A and B. Then now we need to find C. So for C, it's very simple. You just choose first, second, or third to replace the A and B. So I will use the first equation. So from the first equation here, to get the C, I will move the 5A and negative 2B to the right hand side. Okay, so you will get negative 29 minus 5A plus 2B. That is my C. So from here, I will write my C is negative 29 minus 5A plus 2B. So minus 29 minus 5. A is negative 15 from here. Plus 2, B is minus 1. So from here, you will get minus 29 plus 75 minus 2. So then you will get 44. Okay, once you have found all the ABCD or ABC, just rewrite your equation of the circle. This is the equation of circle. X squared plus y squared plus ax plus by plus c. So equation of circle, x squared plus y squared plus ax. So now your a is minus 15. Okay, so minus 15. So I will write minus 15x, then plus by. Your b is minus 1. So it means that minus 1y, then plus c, plus 44, that equals to 0. Right? So that's all for this question, and also comes to the end of this video. Alright, so again, if you enjoy watching my video, please subscribe to my channel for more upcoming videos. Alright, thank you. Bye.